Welcome to Cardio HIIT number 12. Today we're performing 16 different exercises for only one set and we're using our timer. So 50 seconds of rest 50 seconds of work and 10 seconds of rest. Our first exercise is a plank step up and kick through touch. So starting in a plank position, what you want to do, remember that good plank form. Step one foot up to the side, so to the outside of the arm, 90-degree bend in the leg. The opposite leg is going to swing through. As you do so, you're going to lift the opposite arm, hold the arm out to touch the toe, and switch feet. To modify, you can just do a knee twist and try to touch the knee. Next up, we have jump rope variations. So I'm just mimicking the jump rope here with my hands. So if you don't have a jump rope, you could do this as well. So maybe just do 10 reps of each different variation, whatever you want to do. I started with high knees into single leg jumps. You could also do jacks, so in and outs. You can move to a standard jump. So just wanted to show a couple variations that you could do with that. You could always just do high knees or just do a standard jump as well. And our next exercise is a crab toe touch. So getting in a reverse bridge. So up on the palms, press into the heels, butts off the ground. As you kick a leg up, you want to reach to touch the leg. So if you can't do that, you can always just do the leg kicks. Next, we're going to perform 10 mountain climbers and 10 Spider-Man climbers. So start with your mountain climbers first. Next up, start with one leg to the outside of the arm, and you're going to jump switch the feet. After you perform 10 reps, you'll go right back into your 10 mountain climbers. So to modify, you could just do 10 straight knee tucks without the jump, and 10 oblique knees. Next, we're going to perform a broad jump burpee. So we've seen the broad jump before, it's been a little while. So what you're going to do is start at the end of your mat. You want to take a nice big leap. As you leap, you're going to sink into a squat. From that squat, you're going to go right into your burpee. So as you reach down, you're going to jump back. To modify, you could step back and perform a modified push-up. You could also perform a smaller jump. Just remember, you're performing a large leap. You're going right down to the mat for the push-up, jumping up and switching. Next, we have plank kickouts. So in your plank position, you're going to bring one leg under the body. As you do so, you're going to lift the opposite arm up. You're going to turn your body slightly and reach to touch the toe. If that's too much, again, you can just do the twisted knee taps. Next up, we're performing our side shuffle and tuck jump. This one we've seen before. So remember, shuffle to the side. As you reach the end, perform a tuck jump. So to modify, you can just do the side shuffle and knee drives. And remember, move through. This whole workout is based on cardio. So you're not focusing on the strength of anything. You're just focusing on moving quickly, getting the heart rate up, getting the oxygen flowing, blood pumping. So everything should be quick. So if you have to take smaller movements, you can always do that. This way you can keep moving. So here we're performing our crouching tiger kick. So this is new. So you're going to start low. One leg's going to be bent. The opposite leg, you're going to be resting on the shin. You're going to start with the butt on the heel. From there, you're going to press into that front knee, come up for a kick. So one set on each side, and then next we're performing a double crunch. So start with the weight overhead. You can keep the legs elevated or start with them on the mat. And you're going to drive the knees in, lift the shoulders up, and bring the weight over the knees. To modify, you could do this without a weight. Another modification is starting with the legs on the mat, or you could do individual knee tucks as well. So there's a couple different variations there for you to work with. Pick the one that's going to challenge you the most. Next, we're moving on to an ab tuck and pike. So again, movements we've seen before, so remember the form. You might be a little bit stronger with it this time as we have done this before. And remember, just keep pushing through. And if you need to modify, single knee tucks and single leg lifts. So next, come back up on your mat. And we're moving on to side kicks. So you're performing a little side step into your side kick. So one foot steps out, opposite foot steps back. Kick as high as you can. Squeeze the abs to kick. If you're not as flexible or if you need to modify, you can do a smaller kick. So it's a little bit of an active recovery in the workout, but you're still going to be working through it. So don't get lazy in that movement. Next, this one's a bit challenging. We're performing a crouching plank to a chaturanga. So we've seen this before in yoga. That crouching plank, you're not bending into your knees. You want to think about just sinking your hips back so your knees are staying in the same position. So if that's too much for you, you can modify by doing a plank rack. So on the forearms, going up on the toes, shifting back into the heels. Next, we have our sit-up jump up. So use a weight for this. Start with the weight overhead. Legs out straight. As you reach the weight in, you're going to bring your knees in to meet, press through the heels, and jump up. So, to modify, you can just do a sit-up and heel touch. So it's that basic movement that's going to help you prepare for the full sit-up jump up. Next, we're moving on to jump rope again, so you can just do high knees. You can go back to the variations. So it's completely up to you, but just make sure that you're really pushing. If you don't have a jump rope, imagine you're using one. And our last exercise is a squat thrust, push-up, and wild thing. So wild thing is a yoga movement. So you may have seen this before, maybe you're not that familiar with it. But what you're doing is you're rotating the opposite foot across the body. You're bringing that toe to touch the mat and reaching the arm on the same side of the body up overhead. So kind of expanding through the chest, opening the back. So if that's too much, just perform this modification here. So let's set our timers. I have my 10 seconds prep, 50 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, and 16 rounds total. So when you're ready, start your timer, get your countdown going, and let's start. Exercise number 1, plank step up and kick through touch. So no counting reps, just keep moving. If you need the distraction, you can go ahead and count reps, and if you want to challenge yourself, you can record how many reps you do for each exercise. This way, when we do come to this week for a recall, you can see if you've gotten any stronger and maybe you've performed 5 to 10 more reps than you did this time. So it's a good way to challenge yourself, but it's not necessary. So keep going. 50 seconds sounds like it's fast, but it's going to feel like a lot of time as you're moving through. So just focus on the form. Just stay strong. This is only exercise number 1. You should be pretty fresh here. So onto our jump rope variations. 10 of each. I'm starting with standard. Moving on to high knees. And if you don't want to do the variations, just choose whatever form of jumping you want to do and stick with that. And be careful with the rope. Get right back into it. So you can do scissor jumps, side to side, or ski hops. Do jacks. Keep breathing, keep pushing through. All right, and we're moving on to our crab toe touch. So up in that bridge, As you kick a leg up, you're going to reach the opposite hand to touch the toes. Remember, if you can't do the reach with the hands, keep your hands planted firmly on the mat and just do the kicks. Keep the butt lifted off the mat. Keep your abs pulled in tight and don't let your shoulders slump. So still think about maintaining the shoulders pulled down the back. Squeeze the abs. Don't twist your back to do this movement. Make sure you're squeezing your abs each time. Keep pushing, keep breathing. Sometimes we forget to breathe when we're a little overwhelmed, so make sure you're breathing. Exhale on your contractions, inhale on the release. So we're on to our next exercise, 10 mountain climbers and 10 Spider-Man climbs. So remember, on this plank, and especially with mountain climbers, you're going to be tempted to lean back. And what I mean by that is eventually your head is going to end up through your hands, your shoulders are going to end up way behind your wrists, and you want to avoid doing that. It's tempting because it makes the movement easier, but your goal is to keep your shoulders planted firmly in line with your elbows and your wrists. So make sure that when you're looking down, you see your shoulders over your wrists. If you don't, readjust. If you can't perform the advanced movement in that position, perform the modification. So here we go with our broad jump burpee. So give me a nice strong jump. Jump back into your push-up. Jump the feet in and turn. Start at the top. Nice broad jump. Jump back into your push-up. Jump the feet in and turn. So really push, really challenge yourself with this one. Don't perform just a light little hop. If you could do more, go further than that. You want to think about springing so far that you're jumping your feet completely off the mat. You're squeezing your quads as you leap. You want to feel challenged in this workout. You never want to perform anything lazily. If you don't feel tired after this workout, then I know you could have worked harder. So just always push yourself. So at this point, my shoulders were starting to die out a little bit, so I took a couple quick little rests. But again, you never want to rest for too long. Sometimes you need to stop so that you can keep going through. But don't just completely stop for 20, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and then give up on the workout. We're performing a lot of planks, a lot of push-up variations. So the arms are going to get fatigued pretty quickly. So just do your best to get through these movements. And again, stop and modify as you need to. But you know the rules. Don't stop for too long. Don't let the heart rate plummet. And never give up. So side shuffle tuck jump. Keep going. Almost through it. So, moving on to our crouching tiger kick. Remember, one leg bent front, the opposite leg, you're resting on the shin to start, butt starts on the heel, kind of crouching over that front leg. You're going to press through the heel of the front leg, use the abs to bring that leg up into a kick. So this one's actually really challenging, so just do your best to get through it. If you can't start in that full crouching position, just start a little bit higher up, so maybe just in a low lunge. So one full set on one side, and then we'll switch legs after. Even when your leg feels like it's burning out, just take a quick second's rest and try to get right back into it. Even if you have to take a little pause after each rep, it's better than completely stopping. You might notice one side stronger than the other. It's okay if you perform less reps, just do your best to push yourself for each side. So as hard as you can. Go to fatigue here. We're almost through it. We have our double crunch coming up next. So I'm using my 5-pound weight here. You can use a weight as well. You don't have to use a weight. It's just an extra way to challenge your core. So you're only lifting your shoulders off the mat here. And if you want that full challenge, keep the legs elevated. If you feel like it's compromising your back, then after you tuck, bring your knees right back down to the mat or perform the single knee tucks. So next exercise, ab tuck and pike. So do your best to just keep going. I know the abs are going to be a little bit tired at this point. Your whole body's probably getting pretty fatigued. Hip flexors, your quads. Again, try to push through that burn. I know it's uncomfortable, but this is where we have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. This is what exercise is all about. It's forcing your body to get stronger. It's never going to be a comfortable process. But just think about how great you're going to feel after this. And in our side kicks, we get a little bit of active recovery here. So you can breathe a little bit. Kind of level out that heart rate. And this is going to help you get through the rest of the workout. We only have 4 more exercises after this, so you're really close to the end. Don't get lazy on these kicks. Don't just flop the foot. Kick with intention. And now we're moving on to our crouching plank into our chaturanga. So remember, on that crouching plank, flat back. So just like we would in yoga class when we're about to spring up into our forward fold, you're going to perform that same position. Instead of springing up, I want you to shift right into your chaturanga. So from that lean back, you're going to go forward into plank. From plank, you're going to fluidly move into that chaturanga. It's a really challenging movement, so your arms are going to be pretty burnt. So take the rest as you need them. There was a couple times, just like now, I had to come down to the mat just to take a breather, release some of the tension from my arms before moving forward. So just do your best. It's all about putting your best effort forth. So here we are with our sit-up jump up. Arms and legs start straight out. Everything's going to tuck in. You're going to press through the heels in a squat position and jump up at the top. So again, don't use the weight to fling yourself up. Don't slump forward as you come up into that squat. Try to maintain a flat back as much as you can. It's going to be hard at this point because you're fatigued. If you are using a weight, I'm using about 14 pounds here. You can feel the weight kind of pulling you forward. Do your best to resist that. So we're back to our jump ropes. I decided to go with variations again. If you just want to do high knees, you can do that. If you just want to do a standard jump, that's fine. If you want to join me in variations, try about 10 of each and just keep moving through. Keep moving through. Keep jumping no matter what variation you're doing. Just keep going. Quick breaths. Remember, nice flat back. Chest is up. Nice strong tall posture. Don't lean back. Don't slump forward. Our last exercise, squat thrust, push up, and wild thing. And for wild thing, make sure you're not just sloppily flinging your leg across your body because that will hurt your back. You want that wild thing to be a nice slow movement. So really strong, use the core to bring the toe across the body to tap to the opposite side of the mat. Press through that toe, engage your glutes and your abs and your back and squeeze up. We're almost there. So let's go ahead and move on to a stretch. Awesome job completing that circuit. It's always more challenging with the timer because when we're performing reps on our own, we have a tendency to rest a little bit more than we need to, whereas the timer is really going to push you to just keep going. So awesome job with our cardio. Enjoy a nice forward fold. And let's do a little twist. And let's twist to the other side. So right knee is going to bend as your right palm comes to the mat. Left arm up, left leg straight. Back to your forward fold. Bring the legs wide. Sink deeper. And flat back to come up. So deep stretch up, hands to the heart. And we're going to sink into a yogi squat. So you want to think your legs are about the distance of your mat. Your goal is to try to keep your feet not completely forward, but as close to that as you can get. From there, you're going to bring your arms to the inside of the thighs and you're going to press your elbows into your thighs. This is going to help open up your hips. It's going to help strengthen your thighs, strengthen your glutes, and in particular, strengthen your hip flexors, which is really important for women in particular. And just breathe here, a couple deep breaths. Try to get comfortable in the squat. Bring the hands to the mat and fold. So now you can bring your legs really wide and just sink even deeper. Bring your head towards the mat. Bend your arms. Back is flat. And let's reach over to the right. Now over to the left. And let's just come into a nice plie. Hold the low position. Again, press the arms into the thighs to help open the hips and breathe. So from here, you're just going to shift the feet, bring the hand down to the ankle, opposite arm is up, back is flat, chest is open, you're not folding forward in the shoulder. You want to keep that body in line. Again, same stretch on the other side. And come up. Bring the legs together. Stretch out the triceps. And let's release tension on the other arm. Deep stretch up. Awesome job today, guys.